Namaskar, good evening. You are watching Rajya Sabha television. I'm Smriti Rastogi with News Tonight. Let's begin the bulletin with the top headlines. SCO declaration delivers strong message against terrorism. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls for joint global efforts to isolate nations sponsoring terror, emphasizes partnership among member nations on health, economy, energy and other areas. India proposes $200 million line of credit to Kyrgyzstan. Both sides signed 15 agreements in various fields, including increasing strategic partnership and defense cooperation. Protests against assault of doctors in West Bengal spread across the country. Medical services affected in many states. Calcutta High Court seeks response from West Bengal government within 7 days, tells state government to take steps to resolve the issue. Former Delhi Metro Chief Sridharan cautions against Aam Aadmi Party proposal of free rides for women commuters. Writes to Prime Minister that costly move could trigger similar demands from other metros in the country. And wholesale inflation slips to two-year low of 2.45% in May compared to 3.07% in April. Food articles, fuel and power items register major drop in prices. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held summit-level talks with Kyrgyz President Jeenbekov in Bishkek on Friday. The two leaders discussed stepping up their bilateral engagement to the next level. They also discussed exploring new areas of cooperation. Both countries decided to boost relationship in defense and security, trade and investment, health, education and development cooperation, among other areas.
भारत और किर्गिज रिपब्लिक सदियों पुराने मित्र हैं। आपके मानस और भारत का रामचरित मानस हमारी सांस्कृतिक घनिष्ठता दर्शाता है। आधुनिक समय में द्विपक्षीय संबंधों के सभी क्षेत्रों में हमारा सहयोग है। आज हम ऐतिहासिक निर्णय लेने जा रहे हैं। हमने तय किया है कि हमारे संबंधों को स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के स्तर तक ले जाएं। ये हमारे संबंधों के उज्जवल भविष्य को आकार देगा। हमने रक्षा एवं सुरक्षा क्षेत्र में अपने सहयोग को बढ़ाने और सशस्त्र बलों के बीच संबंधों को मजबूत करने का भी निर्णय लिया। हमारे रियायती लाइन ऑफ क्रेडिट की मौजूदा व्यवस्था के अंतर्गत किर्गिज रिपब्लिक की आवश्यकताओं के अनुरूप हम सहयोग करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध हैं। किर्गिज रिपब्लिक को $200 मिलियन का लाइन ऑफ क्रेडिट देने का प्रस्ताव करते हुए मुझे खुशी हो रही है। इससे किर्गिज रिपब्लिक के व्यवसाय विकास और अर्थव्यवस्था में भारतीय कंपनियों की अधिक भागीदारी को सुनिश्चित किया जा सकता है। एक्सेलेंसी, रिस्ट्रिक्टेड टॉक पर काफी विषयों पर हमारी चर्चा हुई है।
Soon after the delegation-level talks, 15 agreements were signed between the two countries in various sectors. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that both the countries have decided to add strategic dimension to their ties to boost the relationship in defense and security, trade and investment, health, education and development cooperation, among other areas.
हमारे साझा क्षेत्र में समृद्धि, शांति और स्थिरता के लिए हमारा साझा दृष्टिकोण भी है। एक्सेलेंसी, भारत और किर्गिज रिपब्लिक जैसे लोकतांत्रिक और विविधता भरे समाजों को आज आतंकवाद से सबसे बड़ा खतरा है। हम आतंकवाद और कट्टरवाद के समाधान के लिए एकजुट हैं। आतंकवाद के प्रायोजकों को जवाबदार ठहराना होगा। पूरी दुनिया को यह संदेश देने की जरूरत है कि आतंकवाद को किसी भी तरीके से उचित नहीं माना जा सकता।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also addressed India-Kyrgyzstan Joint Business Forum in Bishkek, inaugurating the event along with Kyrgyzstan President Sooronbay Jeenbekov. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that India and Kyrgyzstan will make a 5-year plan for improving bilateral trade ties. He said that better connectivity was a major ingredient for increasing trade in the region. He also called upon business community of both India and Kyrgyzstan to tap the potential for mutual benefit.
भारत एक विशाल मार्केट तो है ही, हमारे देश की युवा प्रतिभा और उत्साही इनोवेटर्स 5 ट्रिलियन डॉलर की अर्थव्यवस्था बनाने के हमारे लक्ष्य को हासिल करने में महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाएंगे। मैं बताना चाहूंगा कि उपयुक्त माहौल बनाने के लिए हमने डबल टैक्सेशन अवॉइडेंस एग्रीमेंट को अंतिम रूप दे दिया है। साथ ही बायलैटरल इन्वेस्टमेंट ट्रीटी पर हम सक्रिय रूप से बातचीत कर रहे हैं। इनसे निवेश के लिए मजबूत आधार मिलेगा। हमने द्विपक्षीय व्यापार को बढ़ाने के लिए पंचवर्षीय रोड मैप तैयार किया है। किर्गिज रिपब्लिक यूरेशियन इकोनॉमिक यूनियन का सदस्य है। हम यूरेशियन इकोनॉमिक यूनियन के साथ व्यापार को बढ़ाने के लिए प्रेफरेंशियल ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट पर भी काम कर रहे हैं। व्यापार को सुगम बनाने में बेहतर कनेक्टिविटी महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाती है।
And earlier in the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in Bishkek, highlighting the spirit and ideals of the SCO to strengthen cooperation in the fight against terrorism. The Prime Minister said that countries sponsoring, aiding and funding terrorism must be held accountable.
In a veiled reference to Pakistan, Prime Minister Modi said India's neighbour continues to spread terrorism and without putting a check on its designs, no progress to ensure peace and cooperation can be achieved in the region. The Prime Minister's sentiments found place in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit Declaration.
इस खतरे से निपटने के लिए सभी मानवतावादी ताकतों को अपने-अपने संकीर्ण दायरे से निकलकर एकजुट हो जाना चाहिए। आतंकवाद को प्रोत्साहन, समर्थन और वित्त प्रदान करने वाले राष्ट्रों को जिम्मेदार ठहराना जरूरी है। एससीओ सदस्यों को आतंकवाद का सफाया करने के लिए एससीओ रेड्स के तहत सहयोग की पूरी क्षमता का इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए।
The Prime Minister also suggested a 5-point plan titled Health to deepen cooperation among member nations. The acronym stood for cooperation in healthcare, economy, alternate energy, literature and culture, terror-free society and humanitarian assistance.
आर्थिक सहयोग हमारे लोगों के भविष्य का आधार है। एक पक्षपात और संरक्षणवाद ने किसी का भला नहीं किया। हमें विश्व व्यापार संगठन पर केंद्रित एक नियम आधारित, पारदर्शी, भेदभाव रहित, खुली और समावेशी बहुपक्षीय व्यापार प्रणाली की आवश्यकता है।
The Prime Minister also said despite constraints, India on its own tried to connect with Central Asian countries. Without naming China, he said connectivity projects must not violate the national sovereignty of other countries.
Issues which really came up was, apart from the need for better connectivity, he also touched upon such themes as renewable energy, environment protection and solar energy.
Prime Minister Modi said India will promote tourism among other member countries and also establish a 24/7 helpline for tourists from the SCO region.
The document of the anti-narcotic strategy and the program of action. Then, like I just told you about the inter-regional cooperation and the heads of regions forum, and as also 3 documents which were signed were on healthcare, on environment and on sports cooperation.
Modi also assured all cooperation to Russia, the next president of SCO. He also committed participation in all the initiatives taken by the SCO in the future.
After Bishkek summit, presidency of SCO will go to Russia, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi has suggested 5-point program that he calls Health for the Success of SCO. And those programs include fight against terrorism, and he emphatically said that without stopping terrorism, no peace and prosperity can be achieved in this area. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Yogesh Agrawal in Bishkek of Kyrgyzstan.
And for more insights into the SCO meeting, we'll go across to our correspondent Akhilesh Suman, who is joining us from Bishkek. Akhilesh, tell us about the big takeaways from the SCO meeting.
The best takeaway, you can say that SCO resonated what India has been telling for a long time. And the main concern of India had been to caution people from the menace of terrorism. Some countries are practicing it, and some countries are, supporting those countries who are practicing it in some way or other. So I think the SCO document, if you see the SCO declaration, Bishkek declaration, there are so many articles, so many paras which are dealing with the issue of terrorism. There are issues of transnational crimes. There are issues of drug peddling. And very interestingly, there are issues of corruption also, and everything has been related to the security aspect of the whole region. The SCO document says that the drug, corruption, transnational crime, these are all related to terrorism, and no countries have the right to interfere in any country in any name. So I think what Prime Minister Narendra Modi had been articulating for a long time, and he has been telling that in the Central Asian region, there is need to curb terrorism, there is a need to stop terrorism, and any member, if any member is practicing it, it should refrain. So the document exclusively condemns terrorism and tells countries to stop supporting any form of terrorism. So I think it is the biggest takeaway for India. And in other words, you can say that there is an issue of connectivity that has been discussed in the restricted meeting also, and also Prime Minister Narendra Modi told the other concerns about connectivity. Every member nation feels that connectivity is a key issue. If we have made a regional organization, there should be connectivity. There is no doubt about it. And Prime Minister himself, from his own side, talked in restricted meeting that yes, we have tried to get connected to the Central Asian country through Chabahar port and also through Afghanistan by air corridor, air freight corridor. But there are constraints posed by some countries in connectivity. So I think it should be restored. But he cautioned that no country should infringe upon the sovereignty of any other country in the name of connectivity. So I think the whole message has gone very well. And other than that, SCO takeaway, you can say that there has been gelling together in SCO as far as social issues are concerned, as far as cultural issues are concerned. And President Putin has said that during his presidency, he will, stress on these issues that connects people with other parts of one region to another region. So he will stress on people to people contact, cultural issues, and also issues that relates to human resources. So I think these are the biggest takeaway as far as the SCO summit is concerned, and it will be having further meetings how to implement all those things, because one of the other takeaways that you were asking is also about action plan to curb climate change. And that this is an area where there are so many weathers are there. Some region is very hot, some region is cold also. So there is a chances and there is a scope and there is a suspicious climate activities. Somewhere it will be snowfall, somewhere it will be very hot. So there is an action plan made in this SCO summit, and that action plan has to be implemented. So I think after whatever, how people persuade, how the officials persuade from different countries, it will depend on this, that how successful was SCO summit. But anyway, it was a good document, it was a good discussion, and I think Prime Minister Narendra Modi has told whatever he wanted to tell to the member nations in this summit,
And apart from this, a bilateral meeting between Kyrgyzstan and India was also held, where 15 agreements were signed between both the sides. Give us more details on that, Akhilesh.
Right. One of the major things that Kyrgyzstan location is very important and very interesting. Kyrgyzstan is a landlocked country, and it has air way from various other countries, but there is no direct flight from India to Kyrgyzstan. There was a direct flight between India and Kyrgyzstan, but now it is not. But today, Kyrgyzstan and India has, signed a declaration that they are strategic partners now. And a strategic partner, being a strategic partner, has a very vital meaning. For a country like India, that you are getting a strategic partner just in the, on the border of China, because Kyrgyzstan border is, related to China. So that is a very big thing that India and Kyrgyzstan has decided to. And I could feel the confidence of Kyrgyzstan over India. Kyrgyzstan people tell that India is the largest democracy in the world, and we have to, align with India for keeping our democratic countries. Kyrgyzstan is a very democratic society, very disciplined and very quiet and nice people are here. So in that way, I think Kyrgyzstan feels that even for menace of terrorism, it is better to join hands with India than any other country. So one of the things, other than that, Kyrgyzstan and India have signed documents, 15 agreements, in which security agreements are there, the collaboration between NSG and the National Guard of Kyrgyzstan. This also shows you that Kyrgyzstan has enough confidence about our expertise in security issues. We have signed documents in defense, we have signed documents also in education, we have signed documents in IT field.
So these were the important 15 agreements which were signed between India and Kyrgyzstan. And as Akhilesh was telling us, that 3 important issues or the big takeaways from the SCO meeting was combating terrorism, connectivity and action plan on climate change. Moving on to some more developments, the Indian Medical Association has launched a 3-day nationwide protest from Friday to express solidarity with the doctors' agitation in West Bengal. Condemning the incidents of violence against doctors in West Bengal, the IMA has decided to continue their protest on Saturday and Sunday. The country's apex body of doctors has called for a nationwide strike on June 17, that is Monday, with withdrawal of non-essential health services. The IMA also renewed its demand for a central law to check violence against healthcare workers in hospitals and said that it should have a provision for a minimum of 7-year jail term for offenders. A group of doctors also met Union Health Minister Dr. Husbandry and apprised him about the medical fraternity's demand of ensuring safety and security of doctors in face of any violence in hospital premises. He assured doctors that he will look into their demands.
डॉक्टरों से भी मेरी अपील है, रेजिडेंट डॉक्टर से भी, दिल्ली मेडिकल एसोसिएशन के डॉक्टरों से भी, इंडियन मेडिकल एसोसिएशन की सभी ब्रांचेस से भी, कि आप अपना गुस्सा प्रकट करने के लिए सांकेतिक तरीकों का इस्तेमाल करिए। जब आप हड़ताल करते हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं जो आपको एक जिम्मेदारी मिली है, कहीं ना कहीं जो आपने एक ओथ ली है डॉक्टर बनने के बाद, उसका हम वायोलेशन करते हैं। हमारी प्राथमिक जिम्मेदारी मरीज़ों की सेवा भी है और सरकार की भी ये प्राथमिक जिम्मेदारी डॉक्टरों के लिए, स्वास्थ्य कर्मियों के लिए एक सेफ एनवायरनमेंट अस्पतालों में प्रोवाइड करने की है। तो सब लोग मिलकर अपनी अपनी जिम्मेदारी का निर्वाह ठीक से करें, ये आवश्यकता है।
Doctors across India are protesting in solidarity with their colleagues in West Bengal. Government doctors in Uttar Pradesh wore black bands on Friday to join the cause. In Maharashtra, resident doctors went on a 1-day strike to support the protesting West Bengal doctors. Services at state-run Goa Medical College and Hospital and its facilities were partially affected on Friday as several doctors went on a one-day strike. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan has written a letter to West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee with regard to the continuing protest of doctors in the state. In the letter, the Health Minister has asked Mamata Banerjee to intervene in the matter and provide a safe working environment to the doctors. Meanwhile, agitating doctors in West Bengal have demanded Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee's unconditional apology to call off their 4-day-long stir. They have also set 6 conditions for the state government. The doctors also demanded adequate security in the government hospitals. 2 junior doctors were assaulted on Monday night by the family members of a patient who died in the NRS hospital. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has called for streamlining the delivery of services so as to make them citizen-friendly. Speaking at the inaugural edition of DigiTech Conclave 2019, the Vice President said that technology has been a game-changer and is progressively helping in eliminating corruption, ensuring transparency, and also improving the delivery of services in several areas like healthcare, transport, tax collection, and urban planning. Quoting a recent study conducted by McKinsey Global Institute, the Vice President said that India is the second fastest digitizing economy after Indonesia, stressing that digitization has the potential not only to boost core sectors like IT, digital communication, and online retail, but also transform financial services, agriculture, logistics, and education.
By creating a conducive environment and adopting the right policies and regulations, India is now making pioneering efforts to improve the infrastructure need for development with a citizen-centric approach. This is evident from the fact that over the past years, there has been a huge growth in more effective technology-mediated citizen services delivery. My dear youngsters and friends, India is more digitally connected today than ever before. Undoubtedly, digitalization is ensuring speedy delivery of services. Apart from transforming the banking and financial sectors, it is contributing to inclusive development in more ways than one.
And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu continued his interaction with newly inducted members in the government. The Minister of State for Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, Pratap Chandra Sarangi, called on the Vice President at his official residence on Friday. Jal Shakti Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat also met the Vice President. Rajya Sabha Secretary General submitted a report on recommendations addressing anomalies in rules and structures, the Rajya Sabha Secretariat. The committee's report was presented to Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Friday.
Recommendation, and after the recommendations were received, the draft recommendations were again put on the website to ensure transparency, and this was discussed with the employees and the employees associations, and finally the report of the committee has been presented today to Honorable Chairman. Honorable Chairman has directed that we should implement the recommendations of the committee in a way that most of the employees and most of the employees associations, they feel satisfied with the outcome of the committee's recommendations, and overall work culture in the Secretariat improves.
Now the news from Jammu and Kashmir, where 2 Lashkar-e-Taiba militants were killed in an encounter with the security forces in Pulwama district of Jammu and Kashmir. Based on the inputs, security forces had launched a cordon and search operation in Avantipura As they were conducting searches in the area, the militants fired upon them. The forces retaliated and gunned down 2 of them. The slain militants were identified as Irfan Ahmed Dego, alias Abu Zarar, a resident of Pulwama, and Tasaduk Amin Shah of Pampur. Both of them were affiliated with proscribed outfit LET and were wanted by law for their complicity in terror crimes, including attack on security establishments and civilian atrocities. The encounter comes just 2 days after 5 CRPF personnel were martyred in Anantnag when militants on Wednesday targeted a CRPF deployment in South Kashmir.
अवंतीपुरा में एक खास इतला पर पिछली रात ऑपरेशन एक लॉन्च किया गया था, जिसमें अवंतीपुर की पुलिस, लोकल आर्मी यूनिट और सीआरपी के सब लोग शामिल हैं। इसमें 2 मिलिटेंट जो हैं वो सुबह आज फायर फाइट शुरू हुई थी, उसमें मारे गए हैं। दोनों ही मिलिटेंट लोकल हैं और दोनों ही मिलिटेंट जो है उनका लश्कर तौबा से साथ ताल्लुक़ है। उनमें से एक इरफान अहमद डिग्गू है जो नैरा बटपुरा का है और दूसरा जो है तसद्दुक शाह है जो पामपुर का रहने वाला है।
A Delhi court on Friday sent Kashmiri separatist Shabbir Shah, Asiya Andrabi and Masrat Alam Bhatt, arrested by NIA in connection with a terror funding case, to judicial custody till 12th of July. Special Judge Rakesh Sayal sent the trio to custody after the National Investigation Agency did not seek any further custodial interrogation. During the previous hearing, the NIA team had questioned the 3 accused separately in the courtroom. Masrat Alam was arrested on charges of raising anti-India slogans and displaying Pakistani flags during a rally. More developments in a bid to promote Indian languages. The Information and Broadcasting Ministry has asked all satellite TV channels to display the casting, credits and titles of Hindi and regional language serials in the respective languages also. Ministry of Information and Broadcasting said that several Hindi and regional language television channels display the casting, credits, titles of Hindi and regional language TV serials only in English. This practice tends to deprive people versed with Hindi and regional languages of the valuable information about casting of the television serials or programs. According to the INB Minister, Prakash Javadekar, in addition to that language, if they want to give titles in English also, they are free to do so. He said that they are not restricting anything and adding the Indian languages only. Such orders for cinema are also being issued. The Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee, declared the result of Joint Entrance Examination Advanced on Friday. Maharashtra's Kartikeya Gupta secured an All India rank 1 in the JEE Advanced examination. Kartikeya Gupta obtained 346 out of 372 marks. Allahabad's Himanshu Gaurav Singh secured the 2nd rank, while Delhi's Archit Bubna came 3rd. The entrance test was conducted on May 27th in the computer-based test format. Of the total number, 1,61,319 candidates who appeared in both Paper 1 and 2 of the exam, 38,705 have cleared the examination. Of the successful candidates, 5,356 are females.
मतलब पहले तो सरप्राइजिंग ही था, पर अभी मार्क्स पता चल गए थे तो एक्सपेक्टेशन हो गई थी इतनी, तो फिर लगने लगा था कि ऐसा हो सकता है। परिवार से हमेशा रोज बात होती रहती थी और उनका हमेशा सपोर्ट रहा है।
And wholesale price-based inflation fell to 2.45% in May, helped by falling prices of food, articles, fuel and power items. In April, the WPI-based inflation was at 3.07%, while in May 2018, it was 4.78%. WPI inflation in May is the lowest in 22 months, since July 2017, when it was 1.88%. According to the official data released on Friday, inflation in food articles basket was 6.99% in May. down from 7.37% in April. However, onion prices spiked during the month with inflation at 15.89% as against minus 3.43% in April. Vegetables inflation eased to 33.15% in May, down from 40.65% in the previous month. Inflation in potato was minus 23.36% against minus 17.15% in April. Inflation in fuel and power category cooled to 0.98% from 3.84% last month. Manufactured items also saw a decline in prices, with inflation at 1.28% in May against 1.72% in April. And that's all we have for you in this edition of News Tonight. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.